Imagine this. You're standing in a bright room, but someone slowly dims the lights until you can barely see. Did darkness enter the room, or did the light simply fade away? In the same way, evil is not a new creation that God formed. It's the fading of goodness, the dimming of light, the shadow that appears when truth is pushed aside. Evil is not a thing that God made. It's a distortion, like a cracked mirror that no longer reflects his image clearly. When God created everything, he declared it good. So where did the bad come from? Let's think of it like this. A baker makes a perfect loaf of bread, but if someone leaves it out too long, mold appears. The baker didn't create the mold, neglect did. Similarly, evil began not because God created it, but because his creation chose to turn away from him. Lucifer, once a shining angel, allowed pride to poison his purpose. Like a beautiful instrument that decided to play its own tune, he brought discord into God's harmony. Evil entered when freedom was abused, when love was rejected for self-exaltation. Here's a question worth wrestling with. If God made everything, and evil exists, does that mean evil is in him? The answer is both simple and sacred. No, God is holy, and holiness cannot produce corruption. The sun shines, but it doesn't create shadows. Objects do when they block its light. In the same way, evil exists not because of God's nature, but because of our distance from it. Think about electricity. It gives light, warmth, and power. But if you misuse it, it can burn. The fault isn't in the power itself, but in how it's handled. So too with human freedom. God gave us the ability to choose, not to create chaos, but to make love meaningful. Without choice, love would be a program, not a promise. Evil doesn't always come wearing horns and a pitchfork. Sometimes it whispers through pride, greed, or resentment. When someone lies to protect their image, when envy eats away at friendship, when cruelty hides behind laughter, that's evil in disguise. Have you ever noticed how temptation often looks good at first? Like a shiny apple that hides a rotten core, that's the deceit of darkness. It dresses wrong as right, calling bitterness bravery, and selfishness self-expression. Ask yourself, what happens when we stop listening to our conscience, that quiet inner voice God placed inside us? How can light drive out darkness in our hearts and homes? Could the smallest acts of kindness, a smile, forgiveness, a prayer, be like tiny lanterns pushing evil away? Evil entered when love was left behind. But God, in his mercy, didn't leave the story unfinished. Through Jesus, he lit the world again, brighter than before. So does God have evil in him? No, he conquers it. Evil is the absence of his presence, not the product of his power. And when his light lives in us, darkness has nowhere left to hide. Because in every heart where love reigns, evil loses its voice. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share Sight Kids for a longer version.